Hey everyone, it's John again. Playing Immaculate Grid here. I'm not going to show the timed version. I'm just going to go straight to the Rarity version. I was recording it earlier, and then I couldn't find my find my screen. You're getting what you paid for here. It's a low value production, but even that, I was just like, okay, I'm scuffling too hard. And I'd already played the timed version. I can show. Why don't I just go ahead and show what I uh, did have, which I guess was on this screen, and that was just going around here. And it took me like a minute 15. I did not go as fast. I kind of scuffled on this one for a bit, and then came back to Otis Nixon, which I wish I'd um, just gone with it. But I'm going to struggle to beat that rarity score. 300, I think, is going to be tough to beat. 2% on this one. That's gonna be. I guess I do have one that I just thought of. 7% up here for Brett Saberhagen. I think these are probably the most common. I don't know about this one, maybe as well. Anyway, I'm gonna stop sharing and reshare. So that I'm sharing my um, sharing yesterday's game here now. I'm gonna hit refresh. And now we can just get into it. And we're just doing the rarity run. Again, I didn't even beat a minute on that last one. It took a minute 15. I'm not really sure why. But anyway, going along here, let's look at who we've got. Once again, Boston Red Sox, Royals, Rangers, and A's. The guy I just thought of down here that I think I'm going to use is Kevin Mitchell, who's not really known for these two teams. Al Simmons will also work, but Al Simmons is actually known for the A's, and he works for 300 home runs, so I think I'll save him. And Mitchell's not really known for either of these teams. So he goes way less than 0.1%. He's really reliable as long as you don't use him with the Giants. He won an MVP with the Giants. That's not going to fool anybody. But if you get Red Sox, A's, Indians, or slash Guardians, or even Padres in there, Mets kind of borderline. He was on the 86 team and did decapitate a cat, supposedly. Um, anyway, Kevin Mitchell, always a fun play. Let's see here. And then for the A's, um, let's see, A's and this 300 ERA category is sort of an interesting one. Because you don't have to qualify for the ERA title, but I don't have a repository of guys with one inning pitched and no earned runs the way I do with 300 batting average. I looked up some of those, but three ERA is probably going to be a fair number of relievers, but decently prominent ones. Um, for Texas, I think the man I'm going to go with is 1979 Jim Kern, who had one of the best relief seasons of all time. Pitching in the same bullpen, by the way, Sparky Lyle. Um, his 1979 season is one of the best of all time. So he goes, so that hat looks photoshopped. Anyway, like it looks like he's kind of posing for a picture, but then also winding up. This looks like it was taken from an obviously photoshopped baseball card or whatever they had back in the 70s. And now I know he works for Cleveland. Look at that old school Cleveland logo. For the Royals, so I went with I guess I went with Saberhagen up there and then Greinke. They're both out. Um, Wade Davis was like a sub 1 ERA on those World Series teams. Hakeem Soria was definitely sub 3 ERA in at least a couple of those seasons for the Royals in like the 09-10 time frame. If we're marching backwards a little bit, Jeff Montgomery will certainly work. Kevin Appier will work. Charlie Leibrandt will work. Dennis Eckersley will certainly work. Where I'm not coming up with a lot of guys. Like if it was the Brewers, I've got a handful of middle relievers that I know I could go with. Here I'm not brimming with great options. Just pretty obvious ones. Um, And I'm not thinking of any like position players who played like an inning the way with relievers. I've going the other way. I have like a lot of relievers like Roberto Hernandez and Francisco Rodriguez who are 1 for 2 in their career. Um, so I think just that was a long preamble. I think I'm gonna go with either Montgomery or Soria. Actually, Lebrand, even though it was a full season and it was a World Series season, I think he does have a sub 3 ERA one of those years. I'm gonna go Jeff Montgomery. This is one where I generally like I've got 5 or 6 names, but I'm not sure what my fellow baseball fan is gonna put. So he goes sub 1. That was a long way to go to get to sub 1. Um, and then yeah, for the A's, I know Lefty Grove, Rube Waddell, they'll certainly work. Eddie Plank, I think will work. Um, Lefty Grove will certainly work. I'm not sure about Bobby Shantz because I think he was above 3 the year he won MVP. So I'm not going to go with him. Vita Blue and Catfish Hunter will both work. Riley Fingers will work. Dave Stewart and Bob Welch will both work. Zito and Hudson work. Not sure about Mulder. Keith Folk will certainly work. Eckersley will work. Um, Andrew Bailey will work. Not sure on Houston Street. Let's see. I want to say a couple of those guys. I don't know about Gio Gonzalez, but Dallas Braden. I'm not sure about any of those guys. Grant Balfour will probably work. Isringhausen will work. Um, so that's a lot of guys that I just named. Here's an interesting one. What do we think of Mike Norris with his 1980 season? Is that the guy? Seems like he seems like I wrote about. Hold on, let me just try. That career, it intersects with the year I'm thinking of, but I just have this sneaking suspicion. Nope, I think that's got to be it. 1980 season. It seemed like he lasted way longer than I thought. Um, be interesting to look at his career, but I thought like pretty much all of that early 80s A's rotation. I wrote about this in my book. They were managed by Billy Martin, and he worked them hard, worked them a lot of innings, and none of them really lasted much past 30. So, but Norris had a big 1980 year. It's a fun one to look up. Let's see. Ruben Sierra will work for both of these teams. I know he's over 300. I think he's less well known with the A's, so I'm gonna pick him there. Well, actually, let me just hold on to that because they've been around for a while. Al Simmons will work. Colavito might work. I'm not sure about that one. Jackson will certainly work. Canseco works for both of these two teams as well. Harold Baines works for both of these two teams. So these are all options. Up here, I went with George Brett in the timed round. Harmon Killebrew is always a good guy to have in your back pocket. Um, Beltron will work. Ibiana's I'm not sure on. Don't think Mike Sweeney works. So I'm just trying to think of people who passed through Kansas City. Um, Carl Santana works, and he just got to 300 home runs. Is that going to be more rare than Killebrew, who only played a season in the early 70s? And I think so, just because I don't think Carlos Santana getting 300 home runs was that well. I don't think it was hugely advertised, so it's 3%. Okay. Over here, I think I'm gonna go with how's Jose Offerman do? Better than Jeff Suppan? Let's find out. 1%. Jeff Suppan might have been sub 1 actually. but he would have worked. And then, man, trying to think about how I'm gonna beat um point 0.5 from Otis Nixon. Um I said, did John Burkett play for Boston? I'm not remembering that. He definitely played for Texas. Um Napoli will work. That'll be a big one. So I'm not gonna play him. Um Yeah, just trying to think of guys that might have passed through Boston or Texas briefly. Not come up with a ton of names. Um, so we had Canseco could work here and Sierra there, maybe. Al Simmons will work for Oakland. He's over 300. Let's see. And obviously, well, I used Jimmy Fox already for this one. Um, and then as we get into 70s and 80s. I'm not sure on Tony Armas. And you got Wangan is who I went with. Pudge does not get there. A-Rod does get there. Giambi will work for the A's. Canseco will also work over here. So maybe I do that. Maybe I go, well, is that rare? Uh, let's find out. Pretty not rare. Okay. 7. Man, that stings. All right, so I'm up over 10 just with Canseco and Santana. I think I will go with well, here, let's do this. Let's go Harold Baines here, because he definitely works. Sub 1, and then Ruben Sierra here. He's sub 1. So all these guys were sub 1. Decent picks. Which season was Nolan Ryan? I guess he did have a sub 3 ERA in there. I didn't think he was going to work. He was going to be a red herring. So on the timed round, I did go with Zito, Greinke, Brett, Gonzalez, and McGuire. So I got 5 of the 9 that time. But yeah, this one was higher. Definitely should have thought of that earlier and then gone with Otis Nixon later. But live and learn. I'll keep playing. Like I said, sorry about the missing the timed version. The video was just going to be too bad, and I don't really have time to edit right now. So I'm just going to get this uploaded, and we'll be back at tomorrow. Peace.